The conversations that you are about to hear are with Syrians at a rally in downtown Los Angeles on August 31st, 2013, to protest the U.S. military involvement in Syria after alleged chemical weapons attacks by the Assad regime and Syrian army. The point of this video is not to try and paint President Bashar al-Assad as some sort of innocent saint or claim that the Syrian army hasn't committed humanitarian crimes. Saying that Syrians support Assad or don't want bombing is not equivalent to Assad promoting propaganda. It's their opinion based on many factors, and it's complicated. But they have a right to be heard. There is documented testimony and footage of the Syrian army mistreating people within the borders of Syria. Whether or not this was an order from Assad or he was even aware of it is a good question. Regardless of whether atrocities the Syrian army has done were committed against armed mercenaries and opposition or unarmed Syrian civilians, it doesn't matter. Torture of any human being is illegal and disgusting, no matter what side of the political fence they fall on. Many of the Syrians I spoke with were very adamant that every Syrian loves Assad, and the Syrian army nor Assad has or would ever commit acts of violence against civilians. This may be true, but probably isn't, considering the footage and the testimonies. It is more likely that many people within Syria just haven't seen or been exposed to the atrocities and live a very comfortable life, so that is their world and their perspective. They aren't brainwashed or lying. They truly believe what they are saying, which needs to be taken into consideration. If Assad and his army are mostly murdering, raping, pillaging oppressors who attack Syrian civilians at will, then why on earth would there be hundreds of thousands of civilians supporting him, including the entire city of Aleppo, the largest city in Syria? It is a bit arrogant and nonsensical to assume that we know better than they do, and what their opinions should be about Assad and what is best for them. Syrians aren't dumb, and they aren't complacent, so why would so many fiercely support him and the army if they had even a shred of experience while in Syria of him being a murderous tyrant? Are they unobservant? Are they just masochists? That being said, this is a protest. There aren't too many moderate opinions or middle ground perspectives at a protest. You tend to see one side of the spectrum and encounter people who have already been directly affected, have done enough research, or for some other reason have a very strong opinion about the topic. I know that's why I was there. I took this opportunity to document the other side of the story, straight from Syrians' mouths, as to how they feel about Syria, Assad, the army, and the alleged chemical weapons attack, and most importantly, whether or not the United States should get involved more than we already are, specifically by bombing Syria. We would bomb Assad's infrastructure, soldiers, and undoubtedly innocent civilians would be killed or injured in the process. Not all of the Syrians at this rally were pro-Assad. Some were very anti-Assad, but more anti-FSA, Free Syrian Army. And all, regardless of which side they supported, were completely opposed to outside military intervention. Again, the point of this video is to show you the other side of the story that you are not hearing on mainstream media networks. All of these Syrians are either dual citizens, are now American citizens but were born and raised in Syria, some just returned from Syria, and others have been in the States for a long time but are getting real-time updates from their loved ones and neighbors on the ground in Syria as the conflict unfolds. The information they have and give is much different than what we hear on the news and what our politicians and president are saying. There are about 800 people at this rally, and it seemed like about 75 to 80% of them were Syrians. Rallies like this one and even bigger happened all over the world on this day, and in hundreds of cities across the United States. It seems like these people's voice should be very important to our government, as not only are they tax-paying, voting American citizens, but also have first-hand experience with being a Syrian, living in Syria, and have their own personal investigative journalists on the ground by the thousands in the form of their friends and family. And they are all saying hands off Syria for various valid reasons. Yet they are being completely ignored. When listening to these Syrians speaking, please compare it to the information we are hammered with on a daily basis from the mainstream media and our politicians, who are all pushing for military intervention in Syria. And also keep in mind, these people are going to be on the most positive side of the testimonies you will hear, because again, like I said, this is a protest. So the truth likely lies somewhere in the middle. It is obvious that the severity and brutality and oppression that our government and media have tried to lead us to believe is status quo for the Assad regime cannot be accurate, given how much support he has from Syrians all over the world. On the flip side, it's not likely that he is as well loved and as much of a protector as these Syrians feel he is, because they likely just haven't been exposed directly to the mistreatment. Take a listen to what these Syrians have to say and form your own opinion. If you could give one message to Barack Obama, what would it be?
Mr. Barack Obama, what the heck you're doing, man? You support Al-Qaeda. You're killing our people. And then you are going to help them by killing us? What's good gonna do you? To hit Syria and kill more people? What's your fucking problem, man?
How do you know that Barack Obama is supporting the Al-Qaeda? Tell me from Syria the word.
I have families, I have friends, their kids get killed. We have everything on YouTube. A lot of evidence. Supporting.
It's not Bashar al-Assad's army, right? It's the rebels.
No, we love Bashar Assad. We love Bashar Assad. No, he never ever. Can you tell me why he gonna kill his people the same day the United Nations get to use Syria?
Makes no sense.
Okay, and we know who came up with Al-Qaeda. We know who's Al-Qaeda.
Okay. The most people in Syria, they like Bashar al-Assad, right?
Everybody like him.
Okay.
If they don't like him, trust me, he'll never hold on the presidency for 2.5 years.
Right.
With the whole world against him, fighting him. Saudi Arabia, the piece of shit, Islamic Al-Qaeda. They did. Saudi Arabia, we know that. It's coming to you, Saudi Arabia.
That's where the rebels are getting their arms and training, correct? Through Saudi Arabia?
They get in the arm, they are in all support, all the money.
And you're hearing this from Syria?
It's coming from Saudi Arabia to Turkey, to Jordan, to Lebanon, to Iraq, to Syria.
Okay. Okay, start again.
We have videos. They say Allahu Akbar when they cut the priest's neck, and they cut the other guy's neck, and they open his chest, and they eat his heart. I think everybody saw that.
What looks to be a kitchen knife, beheading one by one 3 men. In the distance, there's a group of women and children looking on. All of this is to the cries of Allah Akbar, God is great. The 3 men are purported to believe to be supporters of the Syrian President Bashar Assad. Now, the video appears under the caption of FSA, Free Syrian Army Cannibals Decapitate an Orthodox Christian bishop. It's not clear if this bishop, in fact, was one of the 3 men, but what we understand happened is that the rebels raided a Franciscan order in a predominantly Christian village in the north of Syria on the Turkish border. The Syrian priest is believed to have tried to defend the religious sisters there. Now, the head of the group of these men responsible for the decapitation does say on the video that they are not involved in the military confrontation, but instead that they are involved in executing, torturing and lynching. At the same time, you can see from the video that this is very clearly a group of mercenaries, people from Uzbekistan, Chechnya and other such countries. What it does highlight is the brutality of the Syrian opposition, and you need to remember that this is the opposition that the United States has decided to send weapons to, and it's also...
And Mr. Obama, he cannot see this, the dumbass? He's a fucking piece of shit. He's belong to the Muslim Al-Qaeda, a Salafi from Saudi Arabia. We have no problem with the Muslim people from Syria.
And what do you think will happen to Syria if we do strike?
Oh, Syria strong enough. We're not scared. Syrian people, they are not scared. They know how to defend themselves.
Okay.
And I think, he back off because he knows the mistake he's going to do.
Okay, thank you. If you could give one message to Barack Obama regarding invading Syria, what would it be?
I would like to tell him, look, These are the people that you are trying to protect, and you are supporting them by sending weapons.
These are the Free Syrian Army, right?
Yes,
The
these are
rebels.
the Free Syrian Army. They are killing people in a very, very bad way. I hope he think again, and I want just to tell the whole world that our president is protecting his people. He's not killing his people as they said. He's just protecting the civilian all over in Syria.
And have you heard this from people in Syria?
Yes, I still have family over there. I call them every day, and they tell me stories that you can't imagine the way they are killing people. These monsters.
Right, not Bashar al-Assad.
No, not
The
Bashar
rebels.
al-Assad. He's protecting our people in Syria.
What do you think about the chemical weapons attack? Do you believe that was Bashar al-Assad's army?
No, not Bashar al-Assad. They are the rebels, the protesters. They are these monsters who came to my country from all over the world. They came from Libya, from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, from all the other, the world to kill our people in Syria, and then say that Bashar al-Assad is killing his people. No, that's not true.
And how do you think they all got organized, and where did they get their weapons, and how are they being funded? How did they get to Syria?
Yeah, Saudi Arabia and Qatar and even Turkey, they are supporting them, and they are sending them all the weapons they need.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, so you're a proud Syrian, you have family still in Syria, right?
We have family, cousins, neighbors,
Okay. Sorry.
lots of loved ones.
So the words you're about to say are not from American media or anything, it's from sources on the ground.
From my family back home.
Okay.
From my neighbors, the people that I left. I took my kids and I put them in school back home, and just to teach them the Arabic. And when we came back, for our country too. I'm lucky. I have two countries, not one. I love America and I love Syria. I was born Syrian, but I came here and I took an oath here. I love both countries.
Okay.
Two lovely countries of mine, if they only love each other as much as I
And
love them.
Syria, before it was invaded by mercenaries, was a secular country, right? You guys had no trouble getting along, Muslims, Christians,
Absolutely
Jews?
not. Did you see me just kiss the Muslim lady right now that got offended? Yes, absolutely not. We have no. There was. I don't know how. We had peace. It's exactly what we had. We had peace among Christians, Jews, or Islam, not just Christians and Muslims. We had peace. We never had any problem ever.
So do you feel that it's the Civil War?
No, it's not a civil war. No,
Okay.
it's not. It's not a revolution like they say. It's not a revolution.
Who do you think the rebels are?
They're terrorists. They're the same people that bombed the two towers in New York. They're the same exact people. Americans right now, they're supporting terrorists.
If you had one message you could give to President Obama about striking Syria, what would you say?
Get the heck out of Syria. Get the heck out of Syria.
You represent our country now. It's your rule.
No pressure, no pressure. It's if you had a message you could give to President Obama about striking Syria, what would it be?
We're on Syria. I mean, it's not helping us. I just got back from Syria. I saw what's happening.
Can you please talk about that?
I just went
Okay.
I got back not too long ago.
Tell me what you saw.
Okay, it's not what it is. It's all rebels. They're the ones causing all the damage. You know, I saw it firsthand. I went there. I was in Beirut. I was in Trablus before I got to Syria.
So you saw it firsthand.
I saw it in front of my face. There's rebels everywhere. It's not something. My family is fighting in the army right now. We're part of the war. They're fighting in it right now.
And these Syrian rebels, they aren't Syrian people who are rising up against
like
Assad.
98% of them are not Syrian. Like not
I
Syrian.
can hear you over all this shit.
They're not. No.
So you're saying the rebels are not Syrian.
Most of them, no. I'm sure there are some Syrians, but the majority of them are not Syrian. No.
Where do you think they're getting their guns, their money, their training? How do they have all these supplies to fight?
I really don't know. I don't know.
Saudi Arabia, and how do you know this?
We know that we found the name of the missile and the weapon we found there. Their name is made in Saudi Arabia.
You found the name of the Saudi Arabian
Yes,
missile?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
And this is coming from Syria. This isn't American media. This is from Syria you're hearing about the rebels.
Yes.
Okay, from
We were
Saudi
in there
Arabia.
during the time of the war. We were in there. We were there. My cousins are fighting in the war. They're with Assad. They're in his army. They're fighting it. It sucks because I'm my mom's Sunni and there's no problems there. There's no war going on. That makes sense. But I have my cousins and other family members who are being killed. Constantly coming to the streets. We hear news every single day of how they're being killed because they're fighting in this war. You know, there's a lot of rebels going on. It's not, I don't know what to listen to anymore, but I went and I saw that there's a lot of rebels fighting, and these rebels are not fighting for peace in Syria, they're fighting to destruct it, they're fighting to ruin it. It's not.
And so do you feel that the majority of Syrians support Assad over the rebels?
Yes, the majority, we support Assad.
Okay.
But America, she doesn't like that. She wants to broken us. And she supports Qaeda in Syria and against them and everywhere else. But in Syria, she supports them and she gives them the food and everything.